Candace, this is the Morning Cafe. We've had quite a good time today talking about different issues that are affecting you and I. But more than that, I want us to engage in the lifestyle segment today. Gentlemen who are indeed making a difference in the society and, of course, in their respective communities and many other communities. And I'll just not say so much about them. Let me just introduce them. We have John Okwako, who is a mission coordinator. John, how are you doing?
I'm fine.
And we are really excited to have you in studio, John. And of course, we have also Meshek Owiti, who is the CEO of Awake Youth Initiative. How are you, Meshek?
I'm good. Hi.
I'm good. So, gentlemen, I know that many people believe that, well, not many, let me not say many, but some people believe that the youth want things easy. But when you look at what you guys are doing, talks a bit about a different picture and a different notion that is being created about the young people. But I want to begin with you, John. Yeah. Tell us exactly what you're doing and how you're working with the young people.
Yeah, thank you so much. Exactly. I will say that currently we are working with the Life for Life. Life for Life is a youth group that was started way back in 2008. But basically realized that it got shape in 2015 when the young people came together and said that having grown in the slums of Mathare and having grown in the slums of Mathare, what change can I bring in my society? Then we came up with the name Life for Life because we thought it was like if I share my life, could be there is somebody in the slums who shares the same experience that I went through. I could share with him or her what I went through when I was growing up in the slums of Mathare. Then that could be the starting point of change in the slums. And in line with that, I would say that Life for Life is basically, it's a church movement. And through that, we approach our communities through evangelism. And I would say that through doing this, we came up with it's a biblical verse in the book of Isaiah that says, "Whom shall I send?" It's a question posed. Whom shall I send? Then here comes, he says, "Here I am, Lord, send me." So we are using that as a captivating verse because we are ready to be used by the Lord to send us to go out into our communities and just to share about our lives to bring change into our community.
Meshek, as the CEO of the Awake Youth Initiative, what have you done so far with the youth in various communities?
So just to start with, Awake Youth Initiative was started in 2015 with a vision of transforming youth livelihood and leadership, and more specifically in marginalized communities. So over 2015 till date, we've achieved an impact of 277, working with 277 change leaders. And basically we have three main programs at Awake Youth Initiative. So the first program is Awake Youth Leadership Institute, and what we do at Awake Youth Leadership Institute is to raise transformational leaders. We look at young persons as change makers. But the question is, when you're talking about change makers, what composes of a change maker? What are some of the characteristics of a change maker? So number one, a change maker is somebody that is very passionate about bringing change in his community. But also number two, this is somebody that is very empathetic. And then number three, this is somebody that practices the skills of new leadership. And then number four, this is somebody that is very outstanding in the field in which they operate. So Awake Youth Leadership Institute then prepares young persons to have such values. And then we have Awake Merchandise. So this is a for-profit project within Awake that supports the Awake Youth Leadership Institute. So within the Awake Merchandise, what we do is we sell hoodies, and through these hoodies we raise funds to support the program. And our last program is Awake Changemaker School. So when we talk about Awake Changemaker School, basically we are partnering with a school in Mathare called Millennium Academy. We generally look at starting to shape students or even pupils from the school environment. When we thought about Awake Youth Leadership Institute, we are already working with youth outside the school, but we also need to weave in youths who are still, students who are still within the school. Right. Give them the practicality of change making and all that. So basically, those are our three main programs.
And even as we talk about what you're doing in the community and seeing some of the pictures there, seems like you are doing quite a bit, Meshek. And John, I know you've mentioned that you have been working with young people,
Yeah.
and like basically you're talking about you have sent yourself to the young people, you want to make a change. What would you say is the issue when it comes to improving the lives of young people in the country, having worked with them directly?
Okay, I will say that most people don't understand the needs of a young person, because basically realize that young people, basically I will say that those who've grown in the slums, they have been branded as to be, if you see somebody who maybe was not got an education, people think of maybe of prostitution or getting into thuggery or these other social injustices that happen in the community. But you realize that when we stepped out and said that we really want to come and work with the young people, it's because we were once there. We grew up in. We grew up there. Some of us still visit these people there. We listen to the stories, what people always talk about, and therefore we told ourselves, no, we needed to go out and get to see, because I believe there is somebody whom, if I talk to, or if I can just maybe provide a platform and also maybe get friends to come and talk to this person, there could be a very big change in our community, and therefore. That was the push that gave us that momentum to just get to come and see that actually we tap and just like I've mentioned, that this branding and everything is what makes people drift away and get to start engaging into things that they're willing to wish. Like for instance, I would say somebody might decide and get involved into using, let's say, the drugs, because we have a drug dens in Mathare. I will mention that. Maybe let's say people coming to taking, let's say, illicit brew. It is there. It's not out of their wish, but out of the pressure they get from the society around. Because the society, when it looks at the young people, they expect so much from them. But really, these opportunities are not there. So if the opportunities are not there, what am I supposed to do to create these opportunities? So ours is just there to not provide for the opportunities, but to create a platform or an environment enabling for our young people to see every opportunity that comes their way.
John,
Yeah.
you mentioned that you've grown up in Mathare slums, and
Yes.
you mentioned numerous challenges there that the youth go through in Mathare slums. How are you able to weather through the challenges and become the person that you are right now? Because I think for some it's also an issue of mindset.
Yeah.
Like you've mentioned, how people also perceive you. But how did you rise above all those challenges to become the person that you are today, who is also now a leader driving the agenda of the youth in communities?
Number one, I'll mention about self-drive. All of us having grown in Mathare, we have opportunities, I would say that. We have different organizations providing education to kids growing up in Mathare. We have, like today, we say that when Kibaki was coming into power, he said education for all. It was free for all. That's an opportunity that the government has created in the slums of Mathare or in the country. So basically, I will say that number one, for me, like I grew up, like I went to school in Mathare. It was a school that was started by the church. It was fully sponsored, primary school. Then when you did your KCP, passed very well, they placed us. The school is Mathare Community Outreach. Let me just mention the school because it's a school that has actually educated very many people within the slums of Mathare. But many of the young people within the slums, they don't see these opportunities. Instead, they take it as it's supposed to be, this is my thing. It's like this person is doing a favor to me to go to school, instead of you seeing that this person taking it as an opportunity for you to go back to school. So my message maybe to what I have done is that I saw this as an opportunity. Then I had a friend of mine who had very good brothers and sisters who went to school in very big schools around the country, who really worked with me. And through his brothers and sisters, we were able to have a peer mentorship. You get that? Whereby whatever he was told by his brothers and sisters who went to school and were in high school, telling him that how school is important, he could bring it back, trickle it back to me. And through that, you realize that I was able to listen to him. I was able also to look at the vices that happen in the community, because I have very many friends of mine who died because of they were killed, maybe they were involved into stealing, they died.
Okay.
So I could see that, and I told myself, no, this kind of life is not good. So I said maybe through this education is what I could help me get out of this type of life that we are living through in the slums of Mathare.
Okay.
Then maybe for the ladies, they also realize that prostitution maybe could be the toll of the day in the slums of Mathare. A lady, a young girl, having just grown some breasts, we find people don't take advantage of them. So through that, I will say that we also have ladies within the team who are champions of what we are doing. So there are things that they said, no, this is the kind of life I'm going to lead, but I'm choosing this to move forward. And as I finish on that, I would say, above all, having grown in a school that was a Christian-based organization, every morning we could wake up, pray, sing Christian songs. They could teach us the Word of God. So above all, the Word of God is what has been keeping us moving and moving forward.
All right.
Yeah.
Meshach, you spoke about transformational leadership. You know that there has been this perception that the youth cannot make such good leaders. And when I look at both of you and what you're doing in the communities that you have grown up in, what would you say really about leadership, youth leadership in the country, Meshach? Is it possible for us to have youth leaders who can be responsible leaders and objective leaders and agenda steering leaders?
Actually, I want to say that yes, we do have youth leaders who are actually very responsible and those that are leading change. The perception about youth leadership is a narrative that is changing with time. Looking at your guests today in studio, you will realize that that is very true. We do have youths right now who, like I said, have the values of change making, have the values of empathy, you know, people who are youth leaders who understand their background, who understand the context in which they operate, who understand the context of leadership in the country, and they're saying enough is enough. We really need to change this narrative. So youths have begun to get a very different narrative of youth leadership, and yes, the country must now start investing in youth leadership, because these people are not just giving us leadership, they're giving us new skills of leadership. As you can see, the world is fast transforming. The challenges today are not the challenges that we faced yesterday. And the people who are supposed to fight these generational challenges are the youths. And so the youths are very creative in their leadership, and they're coming up with interventions that are very creative. So there is a need to obviously start trusting. And the narrative, again, even from the media, should change from youths cannot do it to youths are actually doing it.
Okay. Let me hear from you, John, about, I like what Meshach is saying, move away from youths cannot do it to youths can actually do it. Yeah. And looking at John and what he has said, growing up in the slum, and of course many challenges. You've talked about ladies who have gone into prostitution in Mathare slums, yes. John, because they think this is the only way to make a living. Yeah. But John, what do you think needs to be done to support the youth in the country and possibly help them generate income even as much as they are hoping one day to get a job? I mean, where do they begin, and what kind of support do we need to give to the youth in the country?
So I will say that number one is that create an opportunity. You see, many people think that if I come to you and tell you that I'm going to offer you a job, that is all. No, create an enabling opportunity to our youths. These people have got ideas. Like today I will say, currently as a country we're experiencing COVID-19. I have seen a number of youths who have come out just to share their talents. Like for instance, we have graffitis happening in the society today. Yeah. Who is doing that? They are our youths. What if the government looked into that and said, we are going to at least support a number of people with talents, whichever kind of talent that you have. Like I mentioned, when the president mentioned and said he was going he allocated some money to musicians. Let me put it that way. In as much as yes, they're in the field of art, but it was very much specific to the musicians. But of course, we have different youths with different abilities to do in the society. So number two, I want to talk about I've talked about enabling, creating an opportunity to our youths. Number two, I'll talk about like for instance, let me say that we have youths that are not given a listening ear. For instance, like today.
So basically, we need to listen to the young people.
Yes, we need to
give
listen
them an opportunity to be, to contribute to the development of the nation.
Exactly.
Well, just to hear also finally from you, having had the final sentiments of John, I want to hear from you, Meshach, as someone who's into transformational leadership. In a nutshell, how do you think the youth can be supported so that they can become active contributors to the growth of the economy?
I think just before answering that, I really want to attach myself to something. I'm also actually born and bred in Mathare, so I'm really familiar with that context. Coming back to your question, I think number one, what we really need to start by changing is the narrative that youths cannot lead. That is the bottom line. Once that is changed, then I think we really need now to tap into our institutions to start bringing programs, creative programs that will help youth think just beyond the classroom, be innovative. And I'll give an example. If you look at the young boy who won the Uzalendo Award, if you look at the creativity behind his thinking, I think that is what we need to start modeling in our institution. And coming back to even our families, we really need to start equipping parents with what change-making skills look like, so that they're able then to support their children back at home. I think that is the basic, that is the bottom line.
Thank you so much, gentlemen, for making time, sharing your lives and what you're doing for the young people across the country, and of course, especially in your respective local communities. John Owaka, Mission Coordinator at Life for Life, thank you for making time and coming over. And of course, also Meshach Kowitu, who is the CEO of Awake Youth Initiative. Thank you, gentlemen, for coming over.
Thank you.
Indeed, we've come to the end of the Morning Cafe. Talk about youth making a difference. I hope this conversation has inspired you to think beyond. Listen to what John is saying. Opportunities are everywhere. It just depends on how you see your current circumstance. You can rise above it. And indeed, remember, the conversation does not end here. You can continue engaging us through our social media platforms. That is TV47KE on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you for watching. My name is Leangari, and as always, join me tomorrow, same time, same place, right here on TV47 for the Morning Cafe. Have a good day and God bless.